Check it out. Today we're trying out a new digital camera from Runcam called the Night Eagle HD. I actually have a Night Eagle 3 that's an analog camera, and it's one of my favorite low light cameras I have. I've used this setup to film some fireworks and it works awesome. So as far as flying at night with a digital DJI setup goes, I have mainly used the Caddx Polar or the Runcam Wasp, so I'm hoping that this Night Eagle HD will be better than the Polar and hopefully even better than the analog Night Eagle 3 that I have. So here I have the Night Eagle HD Link. The Link is what Runcam calls their air unit module, this right here. In the box you get the air unit, a coaxial cable, the camera. You also get the typical manual, an antenna, a bag of camera screws, and a cable to power the air unit. So a couple specs on this thing. The camera has a resolution of 1280 by 720 at 60 FPS, and it has a field of view of 125 degrees, which is actually probably the most narrow field of view that I have tried out on a digital setup. The camera measures 19 by 19 and is pretty much the same size as the Wasp or Polar cameras. Something else that I gotta note is this camera is only black and white, so you can't get a color image out of this camera. There's really not much else to cover with this thing. It's a pretty straightforward little unit. You get the air unit, antenna. I'm gonna go throw this on one of my Cinewhoops, and we are gonna put this head to head. I'm mainly curious how it compares to the Polar, so I'm actually gonna compare it to this setup right here. This is one of my Cinewhoops that I use. I use this a lot for chasing go-karts because when I fly in supercharged, the lighting there is actually pretty dark, and the Polar is perfect for that. So I'm going to put the Night Eagle HD right up against this one. This is kind of my go-to night camera. I use the Wasp quite a bit, but the Polar is, if I'm doing shooting at night and I'm using a digital quad, I'm gonna go for the Polar. The Polar has been the best digital night camera that I have used. So I'm gonna put it head to head with that. So I have this one on here, and then I'm gonna go install this on my Speedy Bee B35. Currently I have a Wasp on here, but I'm gonna just take that off and throw this camera on and we'll try it out. All right, so I've got the Runcam Night Eagle all installed on this Cinewhoop, and I was about to go outside and test this last night, but then I realized that you're actually able to use this camera with an infrared light so you can see better at night. So I have this infrared light that I got on Amazon for like 20 bucks, and it's on right now, but you can't see it, neither can I. But this camera can, and this is going to help us fly at night. I don't know when I'd ever have to use night vision on an FPV drone. That's not really for my channel, but it's kind of cool that this camera can use infrared lights to see better. So I'm gonna put this on here. We'll get a couple different flights. We'll see how it performs without the light. We'll see how it performs with the light, and then we'll also do a flight with the Polar Vista just to see how it compares. All right, I expected this camera to give the Caddx Polar a run for its money, but I really didn't expect it to absolutely just blow it out of the water like that. Those flights were done at 11 p.m. and it was pretty damn dark. It was actually kind of tough to just get to that area that I wanted to fly from. In my testing, the Night Eagle HD seriously outperformed the Polar. I was able to utilize lights that I didn't even know were set up over there. If you compare the footage between the two cameras, you can see that there's an infrared light on that light post. In the footage from the Night Eagle HD, it illuminates the trees and that general area is pretty well lit, whereas with the Polar, it was pretty difficult to fly over there and you just can't see anything. When I was flying without the infrared light, I was able to fly into the trees a little bit, but once I turned this light on, I was able to fly into the forest even though it was completely dark out. So this is a pretty unique little FPV camera and I can see a couple use case scenarios for it. I've been involved with search and rescue operations where they do need to use a drone, and something like this makes flights at night and exploring the woods with clear visibility actually possible. Once you add even a small infrared light like this to a drone, you can see extremely clear and you can fly through the forest pretty easily. I was actually really surprised with how much this infrared light was able to help during night flight. Another use case for a camera like this would be anytime you're just flying at night, like if you're filming fireworks or if you're filming Christmas lights or just something at night. This is easily the best option for a digital FPV video feed. Even though this camera is only black and white, I feel like you can see 10 times better with this one than you can with the Polar. So in conclusion, this is the best night vision HD FPV camera that I have tested. Flying at night obviously has its own obstacles as far as the FAA laws and lights that you need on your drone, but this camera makes night operations a lot easier. Links to this camera will be down in the description. If this video helped you out, make sure you subscribe to the channel, leave the video a like, and if you have any questions about the Runcam Night Eagle HD, leave a comment down below.